Why do popular franchises fail?
I think that it gets back to when the filmmaking turns inorganic. And I think that that's hard to describe when that happens and what that is, but it rings true or it doesn't. And when a popular film goes in a direction that doesn't feel authentic to the characters and who they are and their motivations as we've seen over the years, then that's where the franchise can be derailed. And that is why Top Gun Maverick's a great film, is because it's very true to everyone from the '86 version to now the 2022 version, to the sequel, is that it is organic and it's grounded in who these characters were. So that's how you do it right. And then we've seen how it's done wrong, where you just watch and you go, wait, that character would never do that. Or what was that decision? And it almost always just comes back to something that feels inauthentic, inorganic, and often ungrounded. And that's, I think, it happens a lot of times. A lot of filmmakers try to do too much. I think there's value in not doing a lot. I look at the Dardenne brothers and you talk about their style of filmmaking is just so raw and so rough, no score, just here it is, almost a documentary style. There's value in that. I think that if every filmmaker found some value in that, bringing everything down, it's rarely about bringing things up. It's usually about bringing down the level a little bit, right? Even in Hustle that I watched last night, there's a scene where Adam Sandler has to talk to somebody who's trying to save his career. And you're watching Adam Sandler and I'm going, he's doing his comedic thing where he's out of control, almost he's yelling. And I'm like, if he would have grounded that, just bring that down here, then it's better. And I think that's obviously up to the director to do that because they're in charge of the actors. But as a screenwriter, your job is to, again, just keep the motivations of your characters as authentic as possible. And I think ultimately for me, it's always about bringing things just a little bit down. It's rarely about ramping up. It's bringing things just down. Sometimes a lot, but let's just say even that much. Just that much is significant, right? So it's very often I see that. It's usually less. It's always less is more. Almost always, 99.9% of the time. Less is more in everything in film.
Which franchise is in the worst shape right now?
I think Marvel's in trouble. I mean, listen, Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness, is not a great film, okay? And again, when I watch that film, I see times that I see Sam Raimi, and then there's other times I don't. It's almost like there's two films, right? And it feels like it was cobbled together. And nothing in that film ever rises to a level. You can watch so many films and you have some that really popped. Something in the movie is just like, oh my God. And then we've had plenty of films that you really are pinging that top, right? Doctor Strange never even pings. It's just a flat line. And you go back to Eternals and what Chloe was not allowed to do with that film, clearly. I think Marvel really needs Thor: Love and Thunder to be essentially a home run. I think that the brand is starting to feel devalued. And I think that also speaks back to the Disney Plus shows. There's too much product. Remember, less is more. It's always just comes back to that essential core. Less is more, and now we've got more is more. And you've got all these shows, Miss Marvel and She-Hulk and what's his name, Moon Knight. All these shows. I don't watch the Marvel shows. I just stay with the cinematic universe. But when you start asking your audience to watch shows as homework in addition to everything else, you're starting to make your audience, right? You're starting to bring your audience down. And I don't know I understand they want to have a bunch of successful shows, but the more you do, the more work you require. Like Doctor Strange, if you didn't watch WandaVision, you're like, what? Right? It was required viewing to watch WandaVision. And I don't think that's the best path. So Marvel's in this state where they're trying to figure out how do we work our Disney Plus shows into our cinematic universe organically. And I think it's a challenge for them because not everybody's watching the Disney Plus shows. And therefore, the impact of your film is going to be lessened because the people don't have the experience that they need to really value the film at the level that it needs to be truly appreciated because they haven't watched it. It's like watching a sequel to a film you never watched the original. You're not going to have the same reaction to Top Gun Maverick as you did if you'd seen Top Gun versus you'd never seen it. You're just not. It's the two in combination that is where that comes, right? That's where you have that experience that is next level because they work in symphony with one another. And that is, I think, Marvel's problem right now, is that they have their Disney shows and they're trying to combine them with their cinematic universe, and it's not really going that well. I'm sorry, Strange 2 is not a good film. Eternals is very mid, and then you're sitting here on Thor: Love and Thunder, and let's just hope Taika went batshit with it, because if he did, then maybe we can get back on track. The fact that Guardians are back in this film is obviously a win for them. This is pretty much, we're getting back to that core Avengers group, right? Thor and the Guardians, you're back to the Avengers more so. And I would also argue, going back to Strange, that Doctor Strange is a supporting character. He's not a lead, right? Not Cumberbatch. Cumberbatch is a badass, okay? Great actor. But as a lead, I feel like Doctor Strange is supporting very much as we saw him in No Way Home. He's not the focal point. And I feel like Thor is more of a focal point. So Thor: Love and Thunder should be better off that way. Hemsworth and Thor, more of a focal point as a main character for me than Doctor Strange. But there's a lot of pressure on Thor: Love and Thunder.
So having a film where the audience needs to catch up on prior episodes or universes or whatever is a recipe for disaster?
You're asking, listen, anytime you ask anybody to do more work, they're largely going to probably, nah, I'm good. I don't want to. Back to Downton Abbey. I haven't seen Abbey 1 or Abbey 2, and the reason is I never watched the shows. Someone said, well, you don't need to. Abbey 2 is a really nice, get you up to speed right off the bat when you go into it. I'm like, I don't care. I don't watch the shows. So you're restricting your audience. And again, if that's what you want to do, that's your decision. But again, if I'm making a film, I still want to try to make a film that is as accessible as possible to the widest group of people. Not every film is going to be that, but for a Marvel film, it better be, right? That is accessible to everybody. It better be. So when you ask them to watch for homework WandaVision or Moon Knight, whatever that is, you're asking them to sit through 8 episodes plus go to the movie. I don't know. I think that's the challenge for Marvel right now, is again, how do you do that? So you are limiting your audience when you ask them to do homework outside of the film.
Are there any franchises right now that can do no wrong?
I feel like Jurassic World's run its course, so I don't know. We're going to find out here with Dominion. That's a good question. What franchise? I mean, we obviously have Marvel and we have DCEU. I can't think of any franchises that I'd have to have a list in front of me, because I can't even, off the top of my head, I can't even think of a franchise and think like, could this be in trouble? Mission Impossible. If you look at Mission Impossible 7, obviously great trailer. You've got Tom Cruise, who's coming off of Maverick. It's going to be a huge hit next summer. But at the same time, have we run the course with Mission Impossible? It feels more so the answer to that is yes. But Tom Cruise puts his heart and soul into every film, and you can't help but like the guy. So I imagine it'll be still a winning enough film. But for me, I still want to see something original. I mean, ultimately, I'd rather see a really good original film that is self-contained and doesn't require extra homework. I can just watch this film, get caught up in this universe, this world that the director created, the writer-director came up with this film, and I get lost there, and I don't have to do all the homework. I can just watch this film. So I think that's where my head is. I'd rather watch one singular vision of a film that is start finish, one thing, one project, and not have to have like a franchise. I'm more into those things.
Why did Spider-Man do so well?
Spider-Man No Way Home did the numbers it did, almost $2 billion worldwide, because it delivered everything that you want out of the film. And some people call it fan service. Fine. There's fans out there and they need to be serviced. I mean, it's not a bad thing. Again, if it feels organic and it doesn't feel forced. If the fan service feels like, oh, we just threw all this stuff in here because we want to do it, but it has to have a purpose. And I think No Way Home is a very good film at delivering what the audience wanted to see from that film. I mean, everybody wanted to see all 3 Spider-Men, right? And not only did you get them, you got them in a large amount. You expected them to be a cameo, right? You expected both of them to come back and Andrew and Toby to be in the film for maybe 5 minutes. But no, they're on the whole back half of that film. And that was a great, very smart move by Sony and Marvel. is allowing them to be back because people didn't just want a cameo. They really wanted them back. And they now created a universe where they can actually make films with both of them again if they really wanted to. You've got the Spider-Verse, you could do almost anything with it now. And Top Gun Maverick, same thing. Same thing as No Way Home. It gives the audience exactly what they want. And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, if it feels grounded, organic, and doesn't feel forced and just thrown in there to be thrown in there, it feels like it's actually part and really legitimately deserves to be there, like Top Gun Maverick and like No Way Home. Those are both 100% crowd-pleasing home runs, and there's nothing wrong with giving the audiences exactly what they want.
Why is Doctor Strange the best movie of 2022 so far?
That's definitely not true. That is 100% false. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is definitely not the best film of 2022, and for the reasons we've discussed. I mean, listen, Doctor Strange feels like multiple directors in here. It feels like almost like a test screening movie, right? Where multiple audiences all said, I like this, let's put these things together. It doesn't feel cohesive. There's no moments in Doctor Strange that ping the top, not one. Doctor Strange is definitely not the best film of the year. The best film of 2022 thus far is a tie. It is X, Ty West horror film, and it is Top Gun Maverick. And for the different, they're very different films, but very clearly it's about direction for both for me. It's Ty West there, and it's Kaczynski on Maverick. Anytime you have a strong directorial footprint on a film, I'm gonna like it. And that's probably why I don't like Doctor Strange as much as some. No one, by the way, has said Doctor Strange is the best film of the year. There's nobody. If you have said that, reevaluate all of your cinematic decisions from here back, because there's no way that that's the best film of the year. No chance.
Okay, so if direction is so important to you,
Yeah.
then let's talk about, just quickly, the Safdie brothers.
Yeah. Oh God.
So you have one film that you absolutely love.
Yep.
By the Safdie brothers,
Oh, yeah.
which I would
Good
praise
time.
as well. But you have another one that I love, probably just as much, which you say needs to be fixed in some areas.
Okay, so Good Time is, I mean, listen, if we're gonna pick two Safdie brother films, obviously they're most the ones they are the most well renowned for. One, Good Time, and two, Uncut Gems. Good Time is here, Uncut Gems is here, and here's for a number of reasons. One of the big ones for Good Time is, I don't remember the last time I saw a film that it's about 90 minutes. But at the end of Good Time, it's over and you literally, the credits start rolling. You're like, oh my God, the movie's over. I don't think I've ever had that feeling where you expect the film to keep going and it literally, no, we're done. He's in the back of the squad car. The movie's finished. It's tight. It's dirty. It's raw. It feels like raw New York. Conversely, when I go to Uncut Gems and I look at that film, there's so many things wrong with Uncut Gems. I think for starters, the length. The length is bloated. It's 2 hours, right? Bring that to 130, 135, better film. And here's how you do that. First of all, I know you want to do the mining stuff. I get it. I understand. You want to do the gem mining. That goes on. The colonoscopy does not work. Okay, I would completely eliminate. That is gone from the film. You can start with the mining, but you don't need to do the colonoscopy. Okay, that's out. And I think even if you don't even want to do the mining, you could even get rid of that. The film opens on Adam Sandler on his phone, which is where the film really brings in, right? That's the start. And I think if you make that change, that film is better. Also, the fact that the Safdie brothers are huge NBA fans, I get it. Kevin Garnett actually is very good in the film. But it feels like, and with The Weeknd as well, that it's like, hey, we have these people that are big and successful like The Weeknd and or Kevin Garnett, we gave him a big part, but The Weeknd, like, let's just, because he wants to be in the film, let's put him in. It doesn't fit organically in the story. It feels forced. It's like, hey, we need to put The Weeknd in the movie, right? It's like, let's put the cameo in there, but it's not really needs to be there. And I think the Safdies got lost from Good Time to Uncut Gems. The Safdies got too much of like, hey, let's put more in our film. When remember, it all comes back to less is more. And that's why, for me, Good Time, it's not even a contest. If you go back and clean up the things I said about Uncut Gems, I think it's actually all there. The film, Uncut Gems is there. It needs to be literally carved down, and then you're gonna get a film that's better. Those are the worst films too. When you see a film that has the elements all there, and you have extra pieces strapped on that don't service the movie as well as they should or frankly aren't needed, that brings your film down. And it's like, wow, I can't believe you actually brought your film lower. You lowered your film by doing more. Less is more, almost always.